Dear guys who kick the soccer ball over the fence and ask me to toss it back to them, thus scarring me for life. I'd like to talk to you about the 2 minutes of sheer humiliation you subjected me to last night. Let me first refresh your memory. You, a group of fit young men, were playing soccer on the AstroTurf field across from my apartment building. I, a better than average looking young woman, was walking down the sidewalk carrying my groceries, whining suddenly to myself about the pain the half-gallon of milk was causing my non-existent arm muscles. That's when your soccer ball came flying over the fence and landed right in front of me. Okay, before I go too far, may I just say that I really identify with the woman in this piece? I mean, I've never enjoyed sports, and obviously, fine arts is my comfort zone. So when I read this account with a sporting ball, I was immediately sympathetic. I mean, if you dislike sports, just stay out of football arenas and stadiums. You should never have to subject yourself to this kind of trauma, am I right? Nevertheless, this young lady was forced to confront her inadequate sports skills in the most abrupt and traumatic way. Will she survive? Only time will tell. An open letter to the guys who kicked the soccer ball over the fence and asked me to toss it back to them, thus scarring me for life, by Jen Cordery. One of you approached and asked me politely if I would toss the ball back to you. Fighting the urge to drop my bags and then run screaming down the street, I reluctantly agreed. Before I continue, let me shed light on something that I didn't have a chance to mention last night. I hate sports. More specifically, I hate sports involving balls. Baseball, ping pong, Quidditch, whatever. If there's a ball involved, I want no part of it. This stems from my lack of natural ability when it comes to throwing, catching, and hitting. I'm also pretty bad at general hand-eye coordination, so I'm sure you can understand why I'd be nervous at what I'm sure seemed to you like a laughably simple request. However, wanting to appear agreeable and possibly hoping for some sort of post-childhood ball-related redemption, I picked up the ball and grimacing, eyes half shut, threw it as hard as I could. It hit the middle of the fence and then bounced back to me. Trying to act nonchalant, I chuckled and muttered something about being out of practice and picked up the ball again. If you recall, at your behest, I agreed to try throwing underhand. While outwardly I was smiling, inside I was chanting, "Oh please, oh please, oh please!" I thrust the ball upward with all my might, at first thankful that anticipatory applause stifled my involuntary grunt, and then horrified at what happened next. The ball hit slightly higher up on the fence and then bounced back to me. This is the point where I start to take issue with you. Wouldn't it have been a better use of your time and mine if you just walked around the fence and retrieved the ball then? I was clearly struggling. My smiles were becoming more and more forced. No, you can't normally see my wisdom teeth. And I had turned an unhealthy shade of scarlet, which in your defense was mostly covered by unbecoming winter garments. Nevertheless, you just stood there, transfixed. Seeing that you weren't going to let me off the hook, I became desperate. Memories of middle school softball came flooding back. Being picked last, always assigned to outfield, running out to the edge of the school property and trying to become one with the shrubbery as to avoid any participation. And then that one time when someone hit the ball out to me and I was forced to run to it, pick it up, and throw it towards first base. Then, when it only landed about 8 feet in front of me, having to run to it again and throw it again, this time towards second. And when it landed again, only about 8 feet in front of me, deciding to pick it up and sprint with ball in hand towards third, was exasperated 13-year-old boy screamed at me that I was ruining their lives! Children are cruel. Being a big girl now, I pushed those memories aside and picked up the soccer ball for the 3rd time. I forced a good-natured and slightly too high-pitched chortle while crying inside as he patiently lobbed words of support over the fence at me like I was a 2-year-old holding a beach ball for the first time. Because that's how easy this should have been. "Throw it granny style," one of you said. "Just back up a little and give it all you've got." And most embarrassing of all, "You can do it!" I know you thought you were being encouraging, but it only served to deepen the humiliation. Would I have been at the level of, "I'll laugh about this later," was now approaching, I will push this memory into the recesses of my brain. Alongside the time my dad found that magazine with questionable pictures in it. Side note, I bought that magazine as a joke to show my friends how racy British magazines are, okay? It was a statement on cultural juxtaposition or something. Nevertheless, I accepted your ball-throwing advice. Backed up, rocked back and forth a little, took a deep breath, and let it fly! It hit the rim of the fence and then bounced back to me. I surprised myself, and I'm sure you as well, by letting out a guttural, "Dang it!" and then willed myself to have a heart attack and pass out in front of you just so I'd be put out of my misery. That way you could attribute my complete and utter lack of throwing skills and subsequent meltdown to clogged arteries and poor genes. She probably couldn't throw the ball on account of the shooting pains in her left arm, and no wonder she was so bad. Alas, the heart attack didn't happen, and you continued to look at me expectantly, like you could do this all night. I'd become a sort of spectacle for you. I could feel your collective thoughts drifting through the chain link. Can she really not do it? But, come on, I mean, really? Unfortunately for you, I wasn't game to continue your experiment. 3 failed attempts at a simple task in a 2-minute period in front of a group of people was just enough degradation for me for one night. I picked up the ball for the last time, approached the fence and grumbled, "Please, just come get the dang ball." And you did. And thanks to you, at that very moment, I resolved to never throw anything ever again, except disdainful glances at people who play sports. Sincerely yours, Jen Cordery.